there's great value in spending a period of weeks, perhaps even a month or two, before students choose their extended project titles, in studies which are designed to explore questions, engage students in discussion and debate, and generally prepare the ground for project work. So a taught course which precedes the start of the actual project has value as a preparation for EPQ. It's also of enormous value for students in terms of their own intellectual development, giving them a chance to explore ideas in a more open-ended fashion perhaps than within the formal curriculum. So an extended project taught course would typically last for a period of weeks, a period of months, and it really, for me, does a number of things which are very important as foundations for success with the project. Firstly, it provides a context for students to develop their skills. So we can teach them about referencing, bibliography, construction, managing to find appropriate academic sources, evaluating sources, beginning to understand the conventions of academic writing, the importance of construction of argument and counter-argument. These are skills which many students have probably not developed very fully, especially if they're beginning EPQ just post GCSEs, and a taught course provides a natural context within which to develop them. So the first reason why a taught course is valuable is for skills development. Secondly, the taught course provides a context for students to explore a range of ideas which can stimulate them and help them to make more informed and perhaps more reflective, deeper choices about the title of their project. Often students begin EPQ with no very clear idea of where they're hoping to go with it. They may have a vague interest in a particular topic, but they probably don't have a well-formed idea about an appropriate question. And by exploring a range of material in a taught course, we are, as it were, putting some more cards on the table and inviting them to make a choice. So it's valuable, as I say, for skills development, but it's also valuable as a stimulus to their thinking, to give them more ideas from which to draw when they're choosing their project title. But in some ways, the most important reason, I think, for engaging in a taught course prior to actually getting going with the project relates to the way in which we need, with students, I think, increasingly, to deconstruct a particular model of learning that they will have acquired consciously or unconsciously as a result of their schooling to date. To put it in a nutshell, for a great many students, learning simply means knowing the right answer. And of course, the whole point about work on an extended project is that very often there isn't a right answer. Or if there is a right answer, it's not going to be one that's easy to find. You really won't do a good extended piece of research if there's an easy to find, obvious answer to your question. The best projects almost always involve engagement in issues where there's scope for argument and counter-argument, consideration of alternative perspectives, alternative interpretations, ambiguity, challenging students to think more deeply. So that's a kind of learning which they won't be familiar with in many cases, and it's a kind of learning which they're probably going to find, at least to begin with, makes them rather uncomfortable. After all, in most contexts, learning means knowing what you need to know to put in the exam. And here, there is no exam, there is no right answer. So the taught course provides a context within which we can begin to show students that many of life's most important questions are not questions to which there is an easy and obvious right answer. The perennial disputes of ethics and the perennial disputes about how our society should be organised, questions of philosophy, these for me make excellent starting points, both because they challenge students to think more deeply, but also specifically because there is no clear-cut answer. And so we're drawn into a process of discussion, debate, inquiry, argument and counter-argument. And once that journey begins, you're well on the way towards a successful extended project. So, what kinds of material might we put into our taught course? Well, as I've already intimated, the best questions of all are ones where there's going to be scope for argument and counter-argument, open questions, philosophical questions, ethical debates, questions which take students away from thinking, oh, here's the answer, which I'd write down if it was an exam. I quite like debates from philosophy. My own background is in philosophy, so I naturally like to use material about questions such as what is knowledge, am I the same person I was when I was born, what makes an action right or wrong, what is the mind. There are questions about free will, questions about animals and their relationship, ethical relationship to human beings. Do animals think and feel in the same way that we do? What about robotics and computation? There's a whole raft of fascinating issues there to be explored. Could computers think? Should we give computers rights? All of these questions are fascinating, they're immensely fertile. There's fantastic resources available, very easy to find. Courses like Crash Course Philosophy, Crash Course Ethics, Vsauce. It's a lovely series of video clips available from the BBC in the What Makes Me Me series. All of this provides really good material, which is fascinating, open-ended, not easy to resolve questions, superb for starting discussion and debate in the classroom, and excellent for stimulating deeper and richer projects.